was that? Because you asked me about kids, didn't you?
Oh, right, yeah.
What did I feel about the kids?
What about your grandkids? Born in 85, 87, and Amy's going to kill me. When was Amy born? 91. Was Amy born in 91?
Who?
Amy, 93.
I've got all the dates down here.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I'm going to might start that video again in case Amy watches it. She was born in 93, wasn't she, Amy?
91.
Was she 91?
Yeah, 3rd of the 10th, 1991.
She's getting on a bit, isn't she? Amy?
She's getting old.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jesus.
I've got you all down here. I've even got you down here.
Bloody hell, when was I born?
Yeah. 6th of 3rd, 87.
Yeah. God. Almost as old as Amy.
Just before my birthday.
The greatest gift of all.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got them all down here. And what was that? Oh, I've got your mum, I've got Andy and Kate, I've got you and all the grandkids, great grandkids.
Aye, great grandkids now, isn't it? Well, that's been for a long time.
Even down to Racine. I've got her down, and Steve when he was born as well. It's not your dad, the other
He's not, yeah, I was going to say.
The other Steve.
Great grandkid. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were all before. There's only no. There's none of them. Tasha. We're up to 1995.
1995, yeah.
So there's only you three. That's Tasha, you, and Amy.
Yeah.
That were born before 1995, weren't they?
Yeah.
All the others are later on.
Yeah. Dave was the first one in 2003. Yeah.
Because you were asking me how I felt when they were born.
Well, I said, what was it like?
What was it like?
What was it like being a granddad?
Yeah. Right, I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember. I mean, I don't even know what it's like now. You know, no, well, it grows on you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I always remember what I said to your mum and Kate when they got to 16. Go and live your life, because I lived mine. Make your own mistakes. I'm not making mistakes for you. So I think they've lived by that as well, haven't they? You know, just get on with it. Because I don't want to be on the backs all the time. You know what I mean? But I said to them, go and make your own mistakes. If you want me, I'm always here.
Yeah.
You know, you can always come home again and see me and see your mum, your nana. There's your nana now. Yeah. So.
That's good bottle,
yeah. So 1995. What was I doing then? Oh, 1995. Let me see. 1995. Because I'd left work then, hadn't I?
Yeah. Yeah. So, a few years. Yeah.
So I talked a bit about the boat.
Yeah.
And I said that's what I need. I need a player. I've started it. I've got a VHS cassette of Barrow that I wanted to get put on CD or onto a memory stick for you.
Right.
A bit of a history of Barrow. And I've got some mini discs.
Yeah. I
don't know whether I've mentioned it before.
Yeah.
I've got mini discs that I need a player to play them, because I think it's got first trip to Thailand on it. And then before that, I've got some little cassettes. I don't know whether I showed you them.
You showed, yeah, the little Super 8 type ones. Yeah,
them that I need a player for to play them, because there's quite a lot of stuff on them
Yeah.
There's one about the boat. I think I mentioned that, about bringing the boat out of the dock museum and taking it down the deep water berth. That was my mate's, the Sea Jade. I don't know whether I mentioned that.
Yeah.
The old fishing boat.
Yeah, took it around.
To take down with stands. He asked me about the trailer, what we were doing with the trailer, the big trailer. And then the stories about the tank. I mentioned the tank, didn't I? I mentioned the tank that. Did I mention that the tank that I bought the Douglas Tourmaster? I told you about that.
Yeah.
And did I tell you about Vic swapping it for a tank?
Vic, as in the guy. You told us you sold the tank to the guy in Yorkshire. Yorkshire way,
to back up.
Bake-up, sorry.
Yeah. No, the tug master that I had down the dock when we were doing the boats up.
Yeah.
That'd be after 1995. That laid down the dock after the driving range went. Well, it didn't take off. So we were doing the boat down the dock in between times, and then I started helping my mate on the Sea Jade, the wooden boat that was dragged up from the bottom of Whitehaven Harbour. That was the one that I mentioned that I had on cassette that we took down the deep water berth, and we were doing that up, refurbishing it. I don't know. Yeah, well, Vic Grayson, who was well known around the town, he was a good engineer. Really, if they had any problems, people used to go, hey, can you sort this out on engines or anything like that? Really, really good at doing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody appreciated. He could make a mountain out of a molehill, make a molehill out of a mountain. You know what I mean? It was really good. Well, I had a two-wheel dolly. I think I told you about that. But the Douglas Tourmaster, Dave Armour, the scrapman, that he took over from Sammy Morgan. He was it's JJC now.
Oh yeah.
He had a tank in the scrapyard, and Vic wanted it, so he traded the Douglas Tourmaster in for this tank.
Right.
I think I mentioned it. I didn't tell you the proper story. It didn't have a gun turret on it. So we searched all over to get a gun turret, but we couldn't get one. So we had it. Where do we have it? It was in Dave Armour's yard. I think I mentioned the fact that it had a Spitfire engine in it. Did about a mile to the gallon. It was a decommissioned Spitfire engine. So he took that out up at Neil Martin's yard, the builder. Up at Neil's, and he took the engine out of the diesel engine out of the Tourmaster, put the flywheel on a lathe up at Neil's Martin and skimmed it down so it fit in the tank.
Right.
So the engine that went in the tank, he took the Spitfire engine out. The engine that went in at the tank was the one out of the Douglas Tourmaster, because he got more miles to the gallon. And then it was stored down John Corliss, who was stood in hire. I had a word with John and said, hey, can we store the tank down your yard? Because he had a yard where Senate is. You know, where on the new road, opposite the college, Furness College. Yeah, he had a yard down there. So he said, yeah, you can store it there. How long for? I said, about 6 months. Anyway, after about a year, he said, what are you doing with this tank? So you'll have to get rid of it. So we took it, well, Vic took it, I didn't get involved in that. He drove it out of there, down to the corner of Ramson Street and Rollinson Street. There was a scrapyard there,
Yeah.
Mullins.
Yeah.
He was called Mullen, the lad, in there. Anyway, Dave Armour had taken it over. So he drove it down from opposite the college, down the road, and into the scrapyard. On the way down, the police stopped him and said, "Where are you going with that?" He said, "I'm taking it down there." He said, "You know you're not insured." He said, "Oh yeah." He said, "You can drive military vehicles on the roads anytime, you know." They said, well, it'll churn the road up." He said, "No, it won't, because it had rubber on the tyres."
Right.
He said, "It won't do anything. Put your feet under the track, because of all the wheels, the way it was distributed, so you could let it run over your foot and it wouldn't hurt it." So anyway, it ended up there in the corner of Ramson Street.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know what happened, but it went back to Dave Armour in the scrapyard, and Dave said, "Right," he said, "I need you to take it down to Liverpool to the docks, because Vic had his heavy goods, you know, he could drive anything."
Yeah.
So he put it on, took it down, took it to the scrapyard. £1,000, I think, paid for it.
Yeah.
Took it down there, and he said, "Pay to scrap it, isn't it?" He said, "I'm not scrapping it. It's been sold to China for 4,000.
Bloody hell.
He said they take the engine out and they put it on the boats,
Yeah.
with a rear engine in to drive the sampans or whatever they are. He said they'll be going there for that.
Bloody hell.
So that was that. But the engine, the Spitfire engine, we took it to the steam gathering.
Oh yeah.
You know, where it was on shore.
Yeah.
And what are you doing here? And that ended up at Carlisle Aircraft Museum.
Oh, nice one.
So I don't know whether it's still there or whether it all packed up. So that was the story about the tank. And then the boat was down the deep water berth, because it used to be the Sea Cadets. Well, Vic took his boat down there so he could work on it. So we're working on it down there. You know where the deep water berth is. And, anyway, when it was down there, there was a boat called the Emily Barrett, a wooden boat that was in the Dock Museum.
Right.
It was scrapped virtually. Well, it was scrapped. It was chopped up. It should have been kept. But no, just open that door.
Come on.
No, leave her and let her wander around. So when I was in the yard, the mass for it was laid down the dockside, outside the shipwright's shop, and I was going to scrap them because Princess Di was coming to launch a boat. Yeah. So I had the job of clearing the dockside. Yeah. So I said, "I'll scrap them," but my old boss came and he said, No, those are off the Emily Barrett. We'll have to go down the Dock Museum." So they went down the Dock Museum. Yeah. And then after I finished, they laid down the Dock Museum and they just laid out the back. So he wanted masts for this boat. So he went down and he bought the masts from the Dock Museum, which I don't know. So anyway, we got the masts in. We had to get a crane, the big things like that. Can you imagine? But it was 70 foot, the boat. And then he wanted a topmast. So he said, "Oh, we need a topmast for that. Where are we going to get one of those from?" He said, "We need a good one." He said, "It needs..." I said, "I'll tell you where you've got one." He said, "Where?" I said, "See the gate there when you come in?" He said, "There's a telegraph posts, about 4 or 5 telegraph posts down there. Said they don't use them anymore. Said, chop one of them down. So we chopped one of the telegraph posts down. And that was stuck on as the topmast for this boat. And then used to go all over looking for bits.
Yeah.
You know, went Lancaster and all the way around there, odds and sods. I can't remember what it was. So, and then what's he called now? You know, the big Jaguar garage that used to be on the way out.
Yeah, the way out.
Ruskin Bridge.
All right, yeah.
It used to be a big at the side of the road.
Yeah.
Dobson's. Well, he knew old man Dobson. So he found out he had a jet engine in there. It was off a Apache helicopter.
Right.
A French Apache, I think they were, or something or other. So he had the mad idea of getting this jet engine and mounting it on a chassis and seeing how fast it would go round Walney Airfield when it was, you know, it really wasn't because you could go on it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got that down there and it was in the workshop because we had the workshop down there, the big workshop, and we ran it up there. We didn't put any diesel in it, just ran it off the batteries. It didn't have screen and all. So anyway, that never took off.
Literally. Yeah.
No, well, it never. Anyway, the boat sort of got finished. We got a bathroom suite from somewhere. I can't remember that. So we put a bathroom suite in, a full-size bathroom suite. Put all sorts in it. And then he got ready. We had another lad helping, Hugh Taylor from Swarthmore. He came down. He nearly chopped his hand off because he was up there putting this other mast on, and he had a chainsaw or something, doing something, and he cut his hand. So, and then down the deep water berth there was Rathbones. It was when people were laid off from Vickers, and they give them something to do. You know, they paid them £20 a week to do odds and sods. It was them that chopped the Emily Barrett up.
Right, yeah.
Because me and Vic tried to get £5,000 donations to save it, but didn't work. Couldn't get any money, so that got chopped up. Cliff Hindle chopped that up. So anyway, the boat got virtually finished, and he decided to sail it to the Isle of Man. Right. So I didn't go because I can't sail.
Wow. They had a lot of faith in his handiwork then.
Yeah. But the only thing is, he didn't put a bilge pump in, did he?
All right.
Well, he did, but he didn't seal the output to the side.
Right.
Where it blow it out.
Oh, okay.
You know, because the bilges used to flood.
Yeah.
Anyway, he sailed it to the Isle of Man. In between times, listen, my life story is fixed now. I've gone on to fix. He had a big piece in the Whitehaven News, because when he came, he sailed it to the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
And this Huey Taylor went with him, and they parked it up at the harbour, and I think they were there for a day or so.
Yeah.
Across the water, and they tied it up and they went out boozing, or Huey went out boozing, and when he come back, he thought he was jumping on the boat, but the tide had gone out, and he broke his arm or something. So when they came back, they went to Whitehaven for a bit, and then they come back down the deep water berth, and then it was virtually finished, and it got thrown out of the dock for some reason. I can't remember why.
Right.
So he had it tied up outside the dock gates. But his mate tied it up, and he tied the rope too tight. You know, he tied the rope when the tide was in, so when the tide went out, and he rove the deck out a bit. So anyway, it was in the basin for a spell, the dock basin, and I got ahead of myself there. When he came back from the Isle of Man, he tied up down Ramsden Dock, deep water berth, outside the dock gates. You know, down Ramsden Dock Road. There's a deep water berth there, where the liner docked. You know, I told you about the liner. That docked down there, and he had a heart attack down there, and they phoned me up and said, well, one of the lads from the dock that we knew, one that he phoned me and said, you better come because Vic's poorly. So I went down and I said, oh, it sounds like a heart attack. So we phoned the ambulance. The ambulance man come and he said, no, I'm not going down there because the tide was out and it was a straight ladder down the wall. He said, I'm not going down there. So they wouldn't go down. So I said, well, what are we going to do? I said, he's down there. Oh, well, here's some pills. Take the pills down and give them to him and see if that does any good. Anyway, the GNT pills they were. So we give him them, and anyway, he ended up in hospital. Well, we got the boat round, me and I forget his name now. We got it round in the basin, and then while Vic was in hospital, he said, you'll have to go and pump the bilges out, because he said the water's coming in.
Backed up.
So I had to go down in the middle of the night and pump the pump the bilges out, because he had a bilge pump on the top, and it was, if you go along the roads, they used to have a little engine there, little pump alongside the road for pumping water out. Well, I had an old one of them with a pull start on it, but it wouldn't start up, so I couldn't start it. So then there was one down below, an engine down below, start the pump, and I couldn't get that started one time, and it was sinking. So it was going well down. So I phoned the fire brigade and said, I've got a boat in the basin sinking. All right, we'll come down and have a look. So they come, oh no, they said, we can't pump that out. We'll lend you a pump. £250 a day. I said, anyway, John Trenneth, who has underwater diving services, he heard about it, and he came down with a self-contained pump. So I had to go down. I think I was doing it for a fortnight, up and down in the middle of the night, pumping this blooming boat out. Then Vic came back and took it in hand, and then he had to get it out of the basin, and it ended up on Walney, opposite the King Alfred, while he tried to repair the deck. Anyway, he took poorly and he died. So the boat was there, and then it got scrapped in the end, because I don't know whether you told the story, but it was getting divorced from his missus, and when it was down the deep water berth, she kept getting on to him about the boat and selling the boat and this, that and the other. So I said to him, sell it to me, Vic. I said, then it's my boat. He said, because there was another lad interested in it from Penny Bridge. This lad has a garage on top of Abbey Road now on the left hand side. That was just up the top there selling second-hand cars. He'd put some money into it or something. So I said, well, sell me the boat. Well, I said, here's £1 for your boat. So we drew a paper up saying I'd bought the boat for £1 off him. So I went up to Dalton to see his missus, because he was complaining about his missus coming down and going on the boat because he wasn't living at home.
Right.
He was living in an old shack alongside where the dog museum was. And then he was living on the boat, and he said, I woke up one morning, he said, I wondered why it was wet, the water had come in. This was before it was all done up. No, it was just a hole. So I went up to Dalton and played out with his missus. I said, you keep off my boat. I said, oh, I'll have the police on you. Anyway, the twist to the tail.
There's some boat, this.
I met his two lads. Got on well with them. And one of his daughters used to have the Mason's Arms at Dalton on the way out. And I was looking on Facebook the other day and I saw her name, so I messaged her and she said, I'm Vic's daughter. So she's interested in the video if I can get it. So that was, 20 years ago when he died. So I met up with her and I see one of his lads. So that was the story about the boat. So while I was doing that, I think I told you I got headhunted from, whatever you want to call it, asked to join Furnace Enterprise and go down there. So I think I did 6 or 8 years down there down before it folded up. So I was doing the boat in the meantime, and I was doing, I did computer classes. I told you I got me CDL, and then I was into the Barra Disability Association. That's where I did RSA courses, passed the exams there, and computing again, and word processing and all that. Then I went to Phoenix, that was another one. That was when I was in the charity shop. That was computing again, and I did some more computer classes there.
What were you doing at the charity shops? I remember you being involved.
Well, this was while I was in the Disability Association. And when I was in there, I told you I got inveigled into painting the ceiling and started in there. Then they got me fundraising. So I was doing fundraising in there, besides doing these computer courses, and I did the foundation course for Lancaster University there. I did the modules for that. That's where I wrote that bit of a life story that you've got. I did that. Then while we were doing that course, one of the things was talking about raising money. So with me being the fundraiser, we said, let's start a charity shop. So that'd be 1998, 1999. So we started a charity shop.
Which was the thrift?
The thrift charity shop.
Okay.
So we did that, and I was the chairman, and there was other lads, another 3 or 4 lads that became trustees of it. So when we started, we had 2 shops in the Mall. We had a shop, but we sort of expanded
memory of that.
into the Mall, because we started doing furniture. And we went into the Mall. We didn't have a van or anything to get the furniture in. We used a scout van. We had a lad called Tommy that was a bit retarded. He used to say I'm a bit retarded, you know. Well, I forget his sick name, Tommy. He used to go down Cornwallis Street, you know, when the clubs were going,
Yeah.
and they used to throw money, and he, you know, throw money on them, and he used to go and pick the money up and this, that, and the other. But we had him going round putting flyers through the houses to say we were starting the charity shop.
Yeah.
So
Got anything to collect?
That's how we got things in.
Right, nice one.
We used a scout van, then we used the scout van, and we got a trailer.
Yeah.
A big trailer, a covered trailer.
Yeah.
And then when we got some money together, because it was started for the Disability Association and the Disabled Scouts
Right.
in Barra, that was the charity.
All right.
That's what it was started up for.
Yeah.
So we did that. Then we progressed from a trailer, scout van and trailer. We bought our own van.
Right.
So then we got too big for our boots, as it were, and we looked for a place, and I got the old sale room, Robinson sale room, down Duke Street.
Duke Street. Yeah, I remember the 3-story one. Was it 3-story? Yeah, I remember going in there.
Yeah, it's next to where Kate used to work, the exchange.
Hairdressers or something.
Hairdresser.
Yeah.
So we got that. I spoke to the chap that had it, because Robinson shut down.
Yeah.
And bloke from Grange owned it. So I went and had a crack with him, and he said, "Oh yeah, you can have it cheap." I think it was £300 a month or something for the premises.
Yeah.
You know, and we didn't pay rates because we were a charity.
Yeah.
So that was all right. Some days we made £500 a day in there on furniture, selling stuff.
Yeah.
We were making £400 a day.
Yeah.
Because we were the only ones in town taking the brown furniture in.
Right.
Which is like you see around here.
Yeah.
This is brown stuff.
Yeah.
And taking beds, we used to take anything in.
Yeah.
So we did well in there.
That's good going. Must have raised a fair few bob over the years, haven't they?
Yeah. And then it got sold, because with the money, the scouts were getting half.
Yeah.
And then the Disability Association, not the BDAD, the Barra Disability Association, they were getting the other half.
Yeah.
And then there was a disagreement between Margaret Burrows, shall not be mentioned. She was the secretary, the one that sort of started it up with others, the BDDA in School Street.
Yeah.
And the money we were getting and was paid through their account, because we didn't have our own account at the time.
Right.
And then there was trouble with the money, that she wouldn't give the scouts the money. So anyway, that's another story. Still rankles that.
Right. So they were keeping hold of the money.
She was keeping hold of the money and not giving it to the scouts.
Unscrupulous.
Yeah. So I ended up. I progressed. I went from the fundraiser, and I ended up on the committee. Then I ended up as chairman when I finished.
Yeah.
Of that, because we'd moved on from then. The Duke Street got sold.
Yeah.
Philip Wilson, he was called, from Grange. He sold it to Bryn Clark, the builder. I don't know if you know Bryn. No, he's all right. He bought it because it was up for sale, and he said, "You can stop in here as long as you want." And then somebody offered him twice what he paid for it. So he come and he said, "Sorry, you know."
Yeah.
I can't refuse it because it's for my lad. The way about the premises. So he had a place at the end of Rollinson Street, where they've knocked down now, ready for doing Marina Village. There was the local sheds down there. Well, there was some new units built. So he said, I've got a unit down there, so you can use that to store your stuff in. So we used that, then we sort of extended into another unit. And then School Street, corner of School Street.
Yeah, I remember that one as well.
Not School Street, Church Street.
Yeah.
Church Street, on the corner of Church Street and Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
That came up, so we moved into there from wherever, and then we had 4 shops there. We kept moving, taking more and more, getting more and more. So we ended up there in Church Street.
Right.
And then we got a shop over Barrow Island. There was one on Anchor Road.
Yeah.
So we had that shop. And then we got one next door. And then we got one next door to that. Just storage. The undertaker had it, Gordon Hall. So we rented them off him. So we were doing all right.
Yeah, a bit of an empire.
Yeah, well it was. And then charity shops started. We were the only one in town virtually.
Right.
And then other charity shops started.
Oh, okay.
So our takings went down and down.
Yeah.
Till in the end, I decided it was enough.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'd become friends with Rory McClure that had the auction rooms on School Street, opposite the Barrow Disability Association, the car park.
Right.
Next to the Presbyterian church that burnt down.
Yeah.
So I became friends with him.
Yeah.
So I was going with him
Yeah.
when he went out to do his house clearances for the auction room. So I went with him, and what wouldn't go for auctions went down the charity shop.
Right. Yeah.
So we were working together, and then when I decided to pack the shops up, he said, well, come in with me. Come up there, and he said, have some space in there.
Is that in the church, you mean?
No. There's the auction rooms were next door.
Oh, okay.
There's
that might be what I'm
the
thinking
church
of,
hall.
Yeah. I've been in there with you, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, that was the church hall.
That's right, okay.
So he worked from there. It's just been sold again anyway.
Right.
So I went in there. He said, you'll have to pay rent, or I'll guarantee you the rent every month. So, but the money that we'd made, I think when we moved, there was about 20,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
So that money was paying the rent.
Yeah.
But we weren't getting enough.
Yeah.
So after 3 years, I just packed it in.
Yeah.
I said, can't do it anymore. And then Rory died, and one thing and another. So came out of there, and in the meantime, we'd sort of, while we were doing the BDDA, the mobility, furnace mobility, we were putting money in there, which is next door to the BDDA on the car park, the big building on its own. That was purpose built. That was set up by another group. We put money in there, then they sort of went on stony ground, saw the money in there, so we went in there and put money into there. So we had money in there, and then I became chairman of that. I don't know what chairman meant, but I became chairman of that. They only packed it in. Well, they only packed me in about 2 years ago,
Right.
because I wasn't in there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
You're busy with
And then
other
that
stuff.
sort of went on stony ground because we couldn't get people to work in there and this, that, and the other. So that was that.
So when
So-
does that take you to all your charity work then? That's a good stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was still doing bits for, well, still, when we moved up here, I was still doing it when I moved up here. Still doing bits, you know, getting bits and pieces and doing this. Oh, I kept it going because Barclays Bank, we had an account in there, and where we were giving thousands away, you know, we were just giving hundreds of pounds away because we didn't have the money to do it. So we used to get funded £1,000 a year from Barclays Bank,
Yeah.
because I had a mate in there that was manager. He was manager of like outside accounts.
Yeah.
And if he did something every year, he could nominate a charity.
Yeah.
So whatever you raised, if we managed to raise £1,000, they put £1,000 to it.
Right. All right.
So we're on £2,000 a year then.
Yeah.
And then things sort of fizzled out. So it just sort of faded away.
Yeah.
We weren't making money. I still get letters. There's a letter on here somewhere asking for money. But you had to put your accounts in every year to the Charities Commission.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't making money, so I wrote to them and said, we're going to have to pack in. So, in fact, there's one on my phone now saying, you haven't put any accounts in for last year.
Right. Oh, God.
But I've told them that we'd packed
Yeah,
in.
packed it in.
Because we had the trustees, I think there was about 6 or 7. One, well, we thought he was fiddling the money, so he got the sack. That was the Barrow Island shop. He was bitter about that. And then the others went and did other things. One of them's got the, sells the mobility scooters in town. Paul, we set him up in business. And then my mate that was the secretary, Colin Biggs, he set up a charity shop in town for, forget what it was called now, but money went there, £4,000 went there to set him up in business, a separate one for a different charity.
Yeah.
So that was going. So that was it. That was, yeah, so that kept me going until virtually till now, I think.
Yeah.
Till just doing odds and sods in the meantime.
Oh, what about your political career?
Oh, right. Oh, right. I forgot about that. When was that? 2013, I think.
Right. All right.
Rory McClure.
Yeah.
He was Conservative councillor. So while I was working with him one time, he said, "How do you fancy being a councillor?" I don't know, you know. I said, "You don't have to do anything." I said, "Oh, right. No, he said, when we're fighting an election,
Yeah.
he said, we need named people, you know, because what they do, you'll be guaranteed, you know, you're in a
Safe seat.
you're in a safe seat.
Yeah.
So when you go, you'll get that seat.
Yeah.
But they put just names to fight against one that they nearly wouldn't get. Like South Walney, David Marcus was on the go then. So they needed another name to fight the seat.
Yeah.
So he spoke to me and said, right, would you be a named candidate? You know, just a name.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. And his mate, I forget his name now, it was another councillor. He said he's putting a named one in.
Yeah.
So there was David Marcus, there was me, and this lass for South Walney.
Yeah.
So that was 2013.
Yeah.
But David Marcus got in,
Yeah.
which was expected.
Yeah.
But the votes were split between me and this other lass. So if the votes hadn't been split, I'd have got in as well.
All right.
So there'd have been two of us. So that was that. And then when next time the elections,
Yeah.
they said, oh, well, will you put in? I said, yeah, we'll put you in for Roosecourt because the one from Roosecourt had come out. Forget who that was now. So I got in down Roosecourt.
Yeah.
So I had 2 spells down there, 2 4-year spells down there. And then at the end of the first 4-year spell, they said, the county's coming up. We'll put you in for county.
Yeah.
So they put me in for county, and I got in county.
Got that, yeah.
So I was doing Barrow,
Yeah.
because Barrow was on its own then,
Yeah.
and ended up with Barrow and County Council.
Yeah.
So that was my political career.
Yeah. Well, it kept you busy, didn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
So I got in that, and then I got voted out, didn't I? I got voted out, and then they started this new one, you know, Westland and Cumberland.
Westland and Furness. And,
Westland and Furness,
yeah.
when they split up.
Yeah.
So they had other. Well, the constituencies changed a bit because down Roosecourt there was 2 of us, me and Martin, that were the councillors down there.
Yeah.
So he went all funny, and he went to be an independent. He went out of the Conservative Party
Yeah.
and decided to be an independent.
Yeah.
And the leader, she went because she was mayor in 71, Hazel Edwards, I think. She reneged, and another one reneged out the party. So, but while we were in power, shall I say, we got on to the people down Roosecourt because we were doing the work. We said, you need somebody to get you all together, you know, and be like a liaison for everybody down there.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to do it. We tried getting meetings.
Yeah.
I used to go and put flyers out. There'll be a meeting down Roos Cons, and nobody used to turn up. And you know, you had 2 or 3, and that was it. So we said, get your act together and get somebody to do something on Facebook, because Facebook was coming up.
Yeah.
So the one that's in now, Paul Griffiths, he started doing his Facebook things.
Yeah.
So he got in.
Right.
Because we were trying to do things. I was trying to do things on county that weren't getting through. They kept getting stopped. The famous one was Graham Beddoes,
Yeah.
who's related to you
Yeah.
in some way.
Yeah.
He was complaining about them not de-icing Holbeck Park Avenue,
Right.
because he lives up there somewhere,
Yeah.
and he kept coming off his bike.
Right.
So I tried for years to get them to put it on the gritting schedule,
Right.
because he used to grit the bus routes.
Right. Yeah, it's quite a big road not to grit, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the outside road right down.
Yeah.
But the bus route used to go up by the school,
Right.
up Red Oak Avenue.
Yeah.
So they didn't
Didn't
do
bother it.
all Holbeck Park Avenue,
Right.
but they changed the bus route that went up Holbeck Park Avenue and down to Lease Lane,
Right.
not the other way around, you know, up sort of halfway.
Yeah.
And I tried for years. Oh yeah, we'll put it on. Never got put on. Anyway, when they changed the boundaries
Yeah.
and it became Westland and Furness this year, they've got it on.
Right.
There's lots of little things that I tried
Yeah.
that wouldn't go through Carlisle,
Yeah.
but because it's a local council
Yeah.
now,
You're
it's
voting for yourself
more
now.
local,
Yeah.
they've been going through. Because when Paul now, he's on Facebook, it's good.
Yeah.
He's making a good job of it, a better job than I did.
I've seen it, the Rouge Court Community Hub. I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
what we told him to start up.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he started it, not me and Martin.
Yeah.
So, so he's doing well. I was a bit, first, because I was passing the ideas to him, what I'd been trying to do.
Yeah.
And he was
all the glory.
And he was ticking off. Yeah.
Yeah.
he was doing it. So
yeah.
that when he put up for count, that upset me. I'm still. Well, I did. I felt a bit niggled about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's making a good job of it. He's doing, and people are talking. This is what we wanted to do. Instead of sending it to us.
Do it as a community. Yeah.
You do it community-wise, like Holmesgill, because they've got a good one, I think, up there. So, yeah.
You give a lot of time back, haven't you?
Yeah.
Over the years, like.
Yeah, because I used to travel. I mean, I was up at Carlisle, used to go to Carlisle. Penrith, used to go around looking at all sorts. Sellafield, round Sellafield, and the new bypass at Grisby. We were up there, and what did we go the other side of Carlisle look at? Something round there. Quarry up Shab.
Yeah.
But I say we used to go all over.
Yeah.
And down Barrow, looking at trying to get all the stink shifted down the sewage works. They used to complain about the smell down there, and went down with one of the other councillors, and it was all the sewage comes here to the sewage plant on big wagons, and then when they pump it out, it goes through a system and it's in the open. So can you imagine all that going through, and then all the byproduct was stored in a big shed. It was dried and put in a big shed, but this big shed, the doors were damaged, so the doors wouldn't shut. So every time they got a load in, because the wagons used to come from all over, and that's when the smell came. So we got them to put new doors on. So that was something down there. The gas terminal, that was another one. So there was all sorts of odds and sods. No parking, and I think that's what snookered me one time was I spoke to the traffic manager who, because I went round Rouge Court with him looking at all the problems, and one of the problems was on North Row, where the school is, parking there, because it's very narrow there, and there's a bus route, so I shouldn't have done it really, because we had what was called a local committee, and the local committee, it was the only one in the county anyway. We used to feed stuff up to county, it's like a subsidiary of county, and we used to get things through, but before you did anything down here, you're supposed to go through the local committee to but the traffic manager said, I'm going to put a flyer out for ticket parking down North and South Row. So I said, all right, put it out. Well, there was all hell about it. So I think that's what snookered me.
Ah, right.
I got hauled over the coals
Yeah.
at the local committee for doing it without putting it through there.
Yeah.
One thing and another.
Tough in politics.
So I had
Nice
my
one.
day. I had my day.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
had
good.
my days.
Nice one.
So that was that. So
Nice one.
that was that. That was up to 2 or 3 years ago. Ever since then, I've done that. Literally.
Well, that's to us nearly to the hour, but it's probably a good point to finish on to do the catch up on next time with all the questions and everything from everyone. And tell Mum to get those pictures